It's another day, the sun is shining. Got to know what's going on around you. Wake up, it's the time to motivate your mind. Come with me, let's make this moment brighter. Wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Come on and wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Hey.
Good morning. Welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise. Happy Monday to you. I am Philip Simon.
And I am Mark Daniels filling in for Snar. Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Good morning, everybody. It's been another long, or maybe it was short for you, I don't know, a long lockdown weekend. We are back once again doing our thing here on Bahamas at Sunrise. But Mark, it does really feel like one big, long COVID day.
Yeah, I was just going to say it was the weekend because I could swear today is Wednesday.
Oh,
and,
boy.
and this weekend was prime for binge watching television shows. And so that's pretty much what I did to let the Saturday and Sunday fly by.
Yeah, I won't tell a lie, man. I've discovered this thing, I think I said it several months ago, called Netflix. It's been around for a while, but it's certainly, man, I've gone through so many series. I never was a series type of guy. You know, I have to watch the movie. It has to, start and then it has to conclude. But listen, man, these series have been incredible.
Yeah, they will. That's why I probably put on that COVID 15. You ever the freshman 15? You put on the COVID 15 because you don't stock up at the store. You buy $400 worth of grocery and you get through one day and you probably don't eat through half.
Oh man, that's another thing. Every time I see those lines, man, and then when we're still going through lines, man, I think I should have been a shareholder in one of these grocery markets.
You're right. I wish I started out as a parking boy and worked my way up the chain.
to ownership. Listen,
right.
I want to say a happy birthday right off the bat to a couple of people. The twins, my twin cousins, Delarice and Delroy. Hubert Edwards, he was just on the show on Friday. Happy birthday, Hubert. Ray Winder, the man himself, has a birthday. I think he had a birthday yesterday or it's coming up. Juan McCartney and Mike Diggus. Gentlemen, lady, have a wonderful day. Hope you had wonderful days on your birthday. It's always good to celebrate, Mark.
Yeah, and our boy Garth Sakani Nash, man, brother Nash from the spot, bringing comedy and laughter to the Bahamas for many years. You enjoy your other lap around the sun, my brother.
Yeah, no doubt. So, Mark, over the last several days, we've had this tremendous spike in the number of cases of COVID. Certainly, we would have heard that the leader of the opposition as well, and Dr. Darville would have tested positive. We certainly wish them all of the very best. You know, we say it all the time here on Bahamas at Sunrise. This is a national issue. This is a global issue as well, but certainly here in our country, this is all about one Bahamas. We take the politics out of it. We need, the intellect, the knowledge, the experience of all of our citizens and those who love the Bahamas and those who are here and resident in the Bahamas to solve this problem, man. And we gotta figure out a way to do it together.
Yeah, you always hear the term that we all have an individual responsibility for the collective. And so, like you said, we must each do our part to make sure that we're safe and we're keeping others safe, but also make sure that you're healthy. So you got to eat good, get your rest, lay off the snacks, don't drink too much, those kinds of things.
Well, those that sounds like real challenging stuff there.
I think I'm talking to myself. Sorry.
Sounds like you were looking into that camera about to do a monologue.
Yeah, right.
I don't know if those videos that we saw over the weekend were live and happening, over the last several days. But man, people, I mean, is this partying for real?
I don't know. I'd like to think that people are being more responsible, but human nature, when you set a rule, we'll find ways to get around it.
Yeah. It's tiring, and my daughter was saying she just wants to go to the beach, she wants to she misses her friends. I mean, it's a real serious time. It's not over yet. 2020, we say it all the time, has become a bad word, but it's still August, right? I mean, it's still August. We've got a few more months to go.
Yeah, and my suggestion would be the same way we had the supermarket list, we need a beach list. So Monday, A to B, you can go to the beach. Tuesday, C to D, you can go to the beach. And let's work it out like that, because yes, I think we all need a good soak in some salt water.
Yeah, no doubt.
Ease our soul.
No doubt. Listen, again, another great show lineup for you. The Bahamas Development Bank is here to share the exciting new vision and strategic plan. I am really looking forward to that conversation. We also have the Insurance Commission of the Bahamas. We'll talk about how that industry has been affected with their premium deferment plan under COVID-19.
Yeah, and school is about to begin, and there's been a lot of buzz about what we're going to do and how we're going to do it. So the Director of Education will be here to tell us about how schools will be operating in September, and we'll talk about the current state of the emergency orders in our legal aid segment with Providence Law. We also want to ask you, our viewers, to take our COVID-19 vaccine survey. We know that there's been a lot of discussion, especially on social media platforms, about the COVID-19 vaccine and what it will mean once a safe version of it is developed. So we'd like you to go on our Facebook page and let us know what you think. Tell us if you are comfortable with taking the vaccine, and we'll put the results here on the air. But first, let's take a look at weather with Brother Godfrey.
Weather at sunrise, brought to you by Bahamas First. First in insurance, today, tomorrow.
Thank you, Mark, and good morning, Bahamas. In your first look at weather at sunrise, ridge of high pressure continues to be the dominant dish across the islands, along with an upper level low across the western Cuba area, and that will support some showers and thunderstorms across the islands over the next couple of days. But for the most part, a nice day, so weather-wise, partly sunny, hot, and humid, with a few showers, isolated thunderstorms, mainly during the afternoon hours. High temps reaching 91, feel like about 103. Tonight, we're looking at partly cloudy and warm. Chance of a few showers, you're going down to 80 degrees Fahrenheit. And in some region highs and lows across the Caribbean, Barbados, 84 and 80. In Jamaica, 84 and 74. In Trinidad, 83 and 77. And the Turks and Caicos Islands, 91 and 79. Across North America, Atlanta, 85 and 70. In Raleigh, 83 and 71. In Miami, 92 and 79. Dallas, Texas, 94 and 80. And Toronto, Canada, 76 and 65. Friday, other look, the ridge will continue to be the dominant feature in the next couple of days. That upper level low will move towards the north. Therefore, we're looking at partly sunny, hot and humid throughout the week. Yes, there's showers and thunderstorms by afternoon. One or two may be heavy in some areas. Temperature daytime will be in the low 90s. At nighttime, around the 80-degree mark. That puts her up when you first look at the weather at sunrise. I'm Godfrey Burnside. Bahamas and Sunrise be back after a short commercial break.
Good afternoon. First response. How can I help you?
I've been in an accident on West Bay Street. Can you send someone to help?
Yes, ma'am. A first response team will be there in 15 minutes. Are you hurt?
No, I'm fine, but a bit upset.
We're glad you're not hurt. Please, try to relax. Our team will take care of everything as soon as they arrive.
First Response provides immediate on-site service and support from the scene of an accident through the claims and repair process. And it's free to all Bahamas First insured drivers in New Providence every day for any type of accident. If you drive and want First Response on your side, call 321-FIRST or visit bahamasfirst.com for the name of an authorized Bahamas First agent. First Response can't prevent an accident from happening,
But it can certainly ease your mind when it happens.
Business in the Box is your solution for business from Cable Bahamas. It's an internet, voice, mobile, and advertising solution all in one place. Get reliable internet, free domestic call, and a live corporate package, and free TV ad placement, all starting with packages as low as $164 a month. You can save over $3,000 a year. Just call 601-8911. That's 601-8911. And ask for Business in a Box from Cable Bahamas Business Solutions. Terms and conditions apply.
Do you want to know more about the scriptures, the early Christian church, its teachings, suffering, other religions, the authenticity of the Bible? The Anglican Theological Institute is for you. Enroll in a 3-year certificate program. Classes are conducted from Nassau and Freeport on Saturday mornings. Don't miss a class. Stay connected anytime, anywhere, with high-speed internet. Contact us at 603-2481. Visit our Facebook page. Pick up an application form at any Anglican church or at Addington House on Sands Road. The Anglican Theological Institute is for you.
Nourish your immune system, nourish your health, nourish your life with Ensure, Ensure Original, Ensure Plus, and Ensure Max Protein.
Welcome back to the show. Touting improved operations with a new vision and strategic plan, the Bahamas Development Bank is focused on developing solutions that build from the bottom up. I'm very happy to be joined this morning by Dave Smith, the Managing Director of the Bahamas Development Bank. Dave, it's been a long time. I see you've got that experienced look showing.
Yes, hopefully it translates into some innovative things for the development bank.
Yes, yes, but certainly good to see you. It sounds as though everything is well. But for those persons who I mean, Bahamas Development Bank has been around for a very long time. It's been a staple in the Bahamian development community here. But talk a little bit about the last few years. I mean, you guys have been so busy behind the scenes. Talk a little bit about this transformation that you've made in the last 2 years or so.
Well, over the last 23, 24 months, we saw a significant need to improve not only our perception in the public domain, but also our services, in addition to fully embrace the mandate of the Bahamas Development Bank. For 42 years, we've been around, but one of the principal things that we've done, at least one of our principal products, would have been credit. So we would have extended credit over that period of time, but not fully embraced the development aspect of the bank, which is included in the statutory document, the Bahamas Development Bank Act 1974. And so what we sought to do is to rebrand, re-engineer the bank and focus on the development aspect, which is what most regional and global development banks are doing now.
And when you talk about, rebranding, for a long time, people thought the development bank was mostly just about fishing and farming. I mean, granted, that is still a very important mission and mandate, but you guys seem to be these days more out there in terms of taking a proactive approach, with your mission and your mandate, and reaching out to businesses and entrepreneurs.
Well, for many years, most of the activities in terms of the development bank was really centered on New Providence and Grand Bahama. And one of the things we are promoting, at least the narrative, and not only just a narrative, but what we're doing in very practical ways, is we are promoting ourselves as the development bank for the entire archipelago of the Bahamas. So what we have done over the last 23 months is we have visited a number of islands to assess the economic situation there, and also to identify areas of interest, not only that we might have, but more so what the indigenous people or the people of the Family Islands might have. One good example of that would have been the small ruminant project we launched last year in Long Island. And we were very anxious to move forward, but then, as with most things, COVID-19 took us in a slightly different direction in terms of stalling everything. But the point with regard to Long Island is that Long Island has long been known for sheep rearing, goat rearing, etc. And so we felt it was a natural fit to revitalize that particular aspect of the economy. And we're looking to do similar things with other islands, as well as partner with other persons and organizations on those islands to move the economic activity forward.
So when we talk about, again, this concept of a development bank versus that of a commercial bank, I think it's important for us to kind of distinguish at a minimum the basic difference between the two when we talk about what your role is with regards to balancing financing sustainability with the development impact versus that of a strictly commercial bank offering.
Well, most commercial banks, as with any business enterprise, would focus on not only the sustainability, but profitability of their undertakings. With the development bank, we take a bit of a balanced approach. We look at the sustainability or profitability or viability of a particular project, but moreover, we look at how does that particular undertaking contribute to sustainable development goals. What does that do for employment? What does that do for inclusion in terms of what's the youth component of it? What's the gender balance or imbalance of that particular project? So how is this project going to contribute not only to a viable business, but how is it going to contribute to lifting other areas of the economy in terms of women in business, youth in business, employment, increased exports, reduced imports. So we look at a holistic view, so to speak, of a project, whereas most traditional commercial banks may not operate in that space, as well as the risk appetite might be different. For us, as a development bank, by definition, we tend to take greater risk, as well as we try to offer competitive pricing. And so if an enterprise or an entrepreneur can access financing or capital from a traditional source, perhaps that's not the type of business we want to do. What we want to do is work in the space where the need is greatest. And so I think that differentiates us as a development bank from a traditional commercial bank or source of funding.
Mm-hmm. Certainly, the major point being the risk appetite, but speak a little bit to the types of businesses that you would see, maybe what you would have seen in the past, maybe 10, 15 years ago, compared to what you're seeing today. Specifically, who and what types of businesses probably can best take advantage of the development bank, and certainly who you have your doors open to?
Well, I mean, fundamentally, our doors are open to everybody.
Okay.
Traditionally, we have been in a number of spaces where there's been agriculture, where there's been manufacturing, funding for the mail boats, funding for service enterprises, in the touristic sector as well. It could be a taxi, it could be water sports, even restaurants. So we've sort of covered the entire gamut in terms of businesses. Going forward, we intend to do the same thing, albeit our focus might be a little bit different in the short term, depending on the needs in the economy. So a good example of that would be the significant need for improvement in technology. So one of the things that we have done quite recently is surveyed our clientele. We sent out a survey to determine their technological needs so that we can be in a position to assist them. This was specifically heightened or highlighted during COVID-19 when a lot of businesses now see the need to rely on technology in order to keep going. So we expect to be very active in the technological space. We expect to be active in the green, blue, and orange economies, orange being more focused on artistic things. And so that would in turn mean that when we have tourists come, there are different activities for them to do in terms of artistic expression of our culture, as a good example.
You know, that's great. You know, every time we start talking about these green, these blue, these orange, all of these different colors, when when we talk about the economy, it could get a little confusing. But again, you know, it speaks to the overall development, because I'm glad you mentioned technology in there, because we can see straight across the board with almost, well, actually, I think with every single type of business, that technology, the infusion of technology is a key factor in success. Hopefully we have Samaya Cargill, your business analyst, joining us here on Bahamas at Sunrise. Got over that little bit of a technical difficulty.
Yes.
Good morning, Samaya. How are you?
Good morning. I'm great. Good to be here at last.
Yes, yes. I was hoping we were able to get you back on the line. Certainly, your managing director has been filling the gap quite well. But
no doubt.
Question. You know, again, we covered the aspects relative to the whole vision and the mission and the mandate of the development bank. But speak a little bit more to some of those, I guess, innovative projects which are supporting, whether it's in renewable energy. I think there's something in poultry. You know, where are the hot spots as it relates to the development area within the Commonwealth of Bahamas, you would think?
Absolutely. Well, as Mr. Smith likely alluded to, we're focused on the Sustainable Development Goals, and that sort of guides our direction and where we want to go. So you're going to see us focus on things like family island development in a really holistic way. And our new business segments, infrastructure, housing, are geared towards building up our family islands and looking at what they really need, not just from the MSME side, but also from the infrastructure side, ports, marketplaces. You need these kinds of things if you're really going to spur growth in those areas. You're also going to see us focus on the agribusiness sector, particularly small-scale food producers. Agriculture is a really risky business. And so our projects division looks at the value chain from a really holistic standpoint to understand what the challenges are so that we can create projects that break down the barriers in those areas. So we have a number of projects, as you mentioned. The Long Island Small Ruminant Revitalization Project that we launched in March is one of them. We're providing technical assistance in the form of training. So farmers on Long Island who have historically been involved in ruminants will get intensive training to build up their stock so that they can provide the rest of the country with mutton, as well as hopefully in the future focus on the export market. We're also building up the community poultry project. That's a really interesting project. It's the first time that the bank is looking at doing a public-private partnership. It's the first time that we're looking at doing an equity contribution. But the really interesting thing about that project is that it really makes broiler production viable for the small farmer, right? If you think about what you need to have a poultry farm, you need $5 million investment. Most people don't have that. Most people won't qualify to get that from a bank. But with the community poultry project, because we centralize the infrastructure, we provide an opportunity for small farmers to get into broiler production. So it's projects like that that you're going to see from the development bank.
Well, I mean, that all sounds great. I mean, certainly we need them. I mean, COVID has exposed so many weaknesses within our economy. But again, maybe I shouldn't say weaknesses. Maybe it's just certainly opportunity, Dave, you know, for today and over the next 5 years. Very quickly, what would you say are some of your goals looking forward into the future?
Well, the strategic plan 2024 calls for a number of things for us to achieve in the short term. And so we're looking at increasing partnership, deepening our partnerships with our ministries such as Ministry of Agriculture and Marine Resources, other agencies such as BAIC, as well as independent non-for-profit organizations such as Juan y Luther Foundation, where we can be or have a greater impact in what we need to do as a development bank.
Okay, excellent, excellent. Samaya, we're going to give you the last word. How can people really just, I mean, people are listening, they might think that this is something for them. How do they reach the development bank and really quickly, what's the process for application?
So absolutely, we're being very vocal, very communicative. You can reach us on social media. You can call us 702-1500. You can send us an email, info@bdb.gov.bs. Send us a message on Facebook. We're here, we're open, we're ready to serve you.
All right, you are certainly available. Thank you so much, Dave Smith, Managing Director, Bahamas Development Bank, and Samaya Cargill, Business Analyst. Thank you once again for being here with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, you're watching Bahamas at Sunrise. We'll be right back.
Welcome to Doctors Hospital. As the Bahamas reopens, we at Doctors Hospital have been hard at work preparing for the new normal. The health and safety of our patients, associates, and others entering the hospital space is ever paramount and shapes the experience as you enter our facilities. All persons entering the hospital will be COVID screened, which includes a temperature check and a few short questions. There's also mandatory hand and shoe washing stations upon entry. Masks are required and can be provided if necessary. To further limit contact, Doctors Hospital has launched a concierge service that allows for pre-registration, a hospital itinerary, in-car waiting, and a navigator to guide you through your visit. Our pharmacy is now offering curbside pickup and delivery services for prescriptions as well. Social distancing markers are placed around the facility, and scheduling for imaging, including CAT scans, mammograms, and 3T MRIs. Laboratory, including our new same-day COVID-19 PCR testing, rehabilitation, and other services, has also been adjusted. Doctors Hospital is here to serve you with the same quality and care that you've come to expect, even as we enter a new normal. Now, more than ever, Doctors Hospital continues to be trusted and best care now. Isn't your health worth it?
Business in the Box is your solution for business from Cable Bahamas. It's an internet, voice, mobile, and advertising solution all in one place. Get reliable internet, free domestic call, and a live corporate package, and free TV ad placement, all starting with packages as low as $164 a month. You can save over $3,000 a year. Just call 601-8911. That's 601-8911. And ask for Business in a Box from Cable Bahamas Business Solutions. Terms and conditions apply.
One thing, two things, blue thing, old things, things that are small, things that are grand, things that fit just right, and in the palm of your hand. Fox Hill Nursery, a large selection of garden supplies. If you can see it in your mind, you can find it at Fox Hill Nursery.
Welcome back. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the Prime Minister suspended the obligation of policyholders to pay insurance premiums on health, medical, and life insurance policies. This time of deferment is coming to an end. Here to tell us more is Michelle Fields, Superintendent of Insurance at the Insurance Company of the Bahamas. Good morning and welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you for being with us this morning.
Thank you.
Insurance has been a hot topic during this COVID-19 pandemic. and the deferment was a welcome form of release. We understand that this deferment caused a delay in revenue for insurance companies. What challenges did this cause?
Well, as you said, for life insurance companies, a lot of the premiums are paid monthly. And so obviously there is a cash flow issue for insurance companies in that they were, the income was deferred for several months. So generally what happens with life insurance companies is that their systems are set up so that the policies will lapse after a certain period in accordance with the terms of the policy. And so if there has to be some change to that, there has to be a manual override to ensure that the policies do not lapse, or else if they do lapse, then that has to be reversed. And so that would have caused a challenge for a lot of the life insurance companies.
And so amongst those challenges, how are companies able to comply to allow this deferment to benefit their customers?
Well, the life insurance companies have, as I say, override systems that they can put in place. The first thing was that people would have had to notify the insurer that they were in the parameters, within the parameters that allow them to defer the premiums in accordance with the order. So they would have had to have lost their jobs, or else they could not have paid online in the first instance. As you recall, when the first lockdown happened, people were not allowed to go into the office, and then that was relaxed some. And so after a while, the bit about the online payment would not have been relevant, but definitely people would have lost their jobs. Many policyholders pay their premium, or have their premium paid through salary deduction. And so obviously if they had lost their job, the salaries were not coming in, or if they were furloughed. So those were the people who were eligible to partake of that deferment.
Yeah, so we hear that the deferment is coming to an end. When does it officially end?
So the actual deferral was from the first order plus 60 days. So it'll be at the end of August. The first order would have ended the end of June, and so this will end the end of August.
So once we get to the end of August, there's obviously persons in the community, customers who would have not regained their jobs by this time. How can they maintain their policies if they find themselves in this position?
Well, they would now have to go to the insurance companies and make some arrangement on, if they can make some arrangement for further deferral, or else to have make some payment on their policies. So that would have to be on a case-by-case basis with the insurance company.
Right. And we see that many businesses across the Bahamas in various sectors have been forced to adjust to this new COVID-19 environment. How has the insurance industry been forced to make changes in this situation?
Like all businesses, first there's a matter of how you do business. And so first, just getting in very quickly to work remotely was a challenge that they had to overcome, which they did very quickly, I must say. All of our insurers were able to set up a system so that customers could contact them online, they can make payments online, they can pay claims directly to banks, etc. So that worked quite well. Obviously, the cash flows of companies will be affected the longer it takes, but the insurance industry in the Bahamas is very resilient. They're very well capitalized, and so we don't see any real challenge with regards to the actual operation of the company.
That sounds amazing. And just to have a quick discussion at the end here. So, when persons' incomes have been strained and they're trying to figure out what are they going to pay? Is it going to be the light bill, the water bill? Are they going to buy food? Insurance may not be at the top of everyone's list. So I just want you to speak to the value of insurance to the individual, and also the value of the industry on the whole to the economy.
Well, insurance is one of those features in people's financial toolkit. Obviously, with life insurance, it ensures that those that you love will not know need, or it also ensures that a major asset is covered in the event of your demise. And so it does just that. It ensures that certain financial aspects are taken care of. When you look at at what life insurance is, it is a long-term product. And so you take out this life insurance at a younger age, whatever the ages you take it out at, but the benefit doesn't come for many years. And it affects your insurability as you get older and you have more illnesses, etc. So if you lapse that policy and then have to take out one later, it is going to be more difficult for you, or be more expensive for you to get covered at a later date. And so maintaining the policy is generally to your benefit. And as far as the country goes, insurance is one of those saving types products that is a forced savings for people. And we know that generally we don't save very well. And so it is a product that does help us to save. And in many products too have some cash value components. And so a lot of people would be able to get benefit from their policy during their lifetime as well.
This sounds like the good old adage that you have to save for a rainy day. And although we may seem as though the storm is around us now, we must not forget there is a long-term plan. You must always plan for the long term, for your sake and your family's sake, and hopefully your children's sake, right?
Well, definitely. And I think that if nothing else, this pandemic has taught us that we do have to have a little nest egg for a rainy day, because people who don't have savings certainly feel in a bigger pinch now than those who do have some savings.
Well, thank you, Michelle Fields, Superintendent of Insurance at the Insurance Company of the Bahamas. You brought us lots of valuable information today. Anybody needs further information, you can find Michelle at the Insurance Company of the Bahamas. Thank you for coming on Bahamas at Sunrise this morning.
It's the Insurance Commission of the Bahamas.
Insurance Commission, my bad.
It's a whole different place.
My bad.
Okay.
The Insurance Commission.
Yes.
But thank you, nonetheless, for being with us this morning.
Thank you so much, Mark.
You're watching Bahamas at Sunrise. We'll be right back.
Do you want to know more about the scriptures, the early Christian church, its teachings, suffering, other religions, the authenticity of the Bible? The Anglican Theological Institute is for you. Enroll in a 3-year certificate program. Classes are conducted from NASA and Freeport on Saturday mornings. Don't miss a class. Stay connected anytime, anywhere, with high-speed internet. Contact us at 603-2481. Visit our Facebook page. Pick up an application form at any Anglican church or at Addington House on Sands Road. The Anglican Theological Institute is for you.
Nourish your immune system, nourish your health, nourish your life with Ensure, Ensure Original, Ensure Plus, and Ensure Max Protein.
Welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise, midway point on a Monday morning, Mark. I tell you, in the back of my mind, I still got COVID and lockdown. I'm just wondering what's going to happen tonight with the Prime Minister. I'm anticipating that we might actually have to go on another lockdown or a full lockdown or something.
Yeah, you know, it's such a tricky situation because you're trying to save the population literally from a pandemic and save their health, but at the same time, the health of the economy is under discussion. And every time you have to shut down or increase the restrictiveness of the measures, it seems as though you have to take away from what the economy is trying to do. And I am not jealous of the competent authority or any of the decision makers in this time, because I'm sure this is a very difficult decision to make.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, we're going to talk a little bit about that with Merrick Storer, managing partner, Providence Law, in a second. But interesting interview with Bahamas Development Bank. In the midst of it all, they're still going. It's a ray of hope for certainly the small, medium enterprise businesses. And again, like he said, they don't close the door to any particular segment or industry, and they're open to all. So it could represent a good opportunity for those viable businesses that want to bounce back.
Yeah, and I liked when they discussed the fact of centralizing a lot of the infrastructure for these projects to allow whether it's multiple farmers or other persons in the industry to benefit from it as a collective. Because once again, as an individual, you may not be in the financial position to have your business ready to launch for the Bahamas. And so I'm happy that the Development Bank is looking at creative ways to make funding accessible.
Yeah, no doubt. And always good to see Michelle. Certainly, the insurance industry, it's one of those things that we need. I almost went to call it something else, but certainly it's something that we need. It's a necessity, and it's a lifesaver, in times of hardship. So, for those who can, and it's a difficult quote unquote can right now, they should certainly continue to keep as much of the insurances that they have as possible. But we've got a second half still to go, Mark.
Yeah, school's coming up. So we've got the Director of Education here to talk about how schools will be operating this fall.
All right. Listen, we're going to take a second look at weather at sunrise with Mr. Godfrey Burnside dialing in. Godfrey, we miss seeing your face, man.
Weather at sunrise, brought to you by Bahamas First. First in insurance, today, tomorrow.
Thank you, Phil, and good morning, Bahamas. In your second look at the weather at sunrise, we take a trip around the tropics. In the tropics this morning, we are monitoring two waves. One, we have a fast-moving tropical wave, about 400 miles east of the Windward Islands, with a 50% chance of development over the next 5 days. And we also watching a tropical wave just off Africa, south-southeast of the Cape Verde Islands. In this system has a 60% chance of development over the next 5 days. Elsewhere, tropical storm formation not expected during the next 5 days. On the local scene, ridge of high pressure continues to be a dominant feature. The upper level low across western Cuba is going to support some showers and thunderstorms across the islands. In your marine forecast today, those winds available at 10 knots or less. Seas less than 3 feet of northwest Bahamas. East to southeast at 10 to 15 knots, sea 2 to 4 feet on the central and southeastern islands. On Tuesday, winds southerly at 10 to 15 knots, sea 2 to 4 feet over the northwest Bahamas. Southeasterly at 10 to 15 knots, sea 2 to 4 feet over the central and southeastern islands. Then on Wednesday, those winds southeast to south at 10 to 15 knots, sea 2 to 4 feet over the northwest Bahamas. East to southeast at 15 knots, sea 2 to 5 feet over the central and southeastern islands. Your tides. Currently have a high tide at around 6:55 this morning. Your next low tide is at 1:02 this afternoon. High gain this evening at 7:27. Sunset at 7:43 this evening. Rises tomorrow morning at 6:46. UV index 9. Your water temperature 83 degrees Fahrenheit. And your moon phase now moving towards the new moon. External look. High pressure will dominate across the islands. So we're watching for partly sunny skies, hot humid conditions, and showers and thunderstorms expected by afternoon. Temperature daytime will be in the low 90s. At nighttime, around the 80-degree mark. That puts you up in your final look at the weather at sunrise. I'm Godfrey Burnside. Bahamas of Sunrise will be back after a short commercial break.
Good afternoon. First response. How can I help you?
I've been in an accident on West Bay Street. Can you send someone to help?
Yes, ma'am. A first response team will be there in 15 minutes. Are you hurt?
No, I'm fine, but a bit upset.
We're glad you're not hurt. Please, try to relax. Our team will take care of everything as soon as they arrive.
First Response provides immediate on-site service and support from the scene of an accident through the claims and repair process. And it's free to all Bahamas First insured drivers in New Providence every day for any type of accident. If you drive and want First Response on your side, call 321st or visit bahamasfirst.com for the name of an authorized Bahamas First agent. First Response can't prevent an accident from happening,
But it can certainly ease your mind when it happens.
Business in the Box is your solution for business from Cable Bahamas. It's an internet, voice, mobile, and advertising solution all in one place. Get reliable internet, free domestic call, and a live corporate package, and free TV ad placement, all starting with packages as low as $164 a month. You can save over $3,000 a year. Just call 601-8911. That's 601-8911. And ask for Business in a Box from Cable Bahamas Business Solutions. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back to the show. In our last legal aid segment in July, we discussed whether the emergency orders granted under the emergency powers included in Article 29 of the Constitution were going to be extended and a lockdown reinstated. Of course, we know what has happened because both of them have happened. We have back on the show Merit Store Managing Partner, Providence Law, to discuss the current state of these emergency orders and the growing level of frustrations being expressed by the public. Good morning. Welcome back to the show, Merit.
Good morning, Philip. How are you?
Good.
Last time we were in studio, but I see you're back at home.
I'm back at home, man, and I see you back in the library as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Merit, I tell you, there's been a lot of conversation. There's a lot of frustration. There's back and forth. You have, chief justices. You have the legal fraternity. Everybody's having a comment on this. Listen, the emergency orders have been extended until the end of September, and we are now coming to the end of a 2-week lockdown. What is the likelihood of this lockdown being extended, and is it legal?
Well, I think you would have heard by now that there's a speech by the Prime Minister at 8 p.m. this evening. The current lockdown would end on Wednesday. Based on my layman's assessment of the health press conference on Friday, it seems as if we still don't have cases going down. So I would not be surprised if the lockdown is extended. I'm hearing from some people that it may even be more restrictive. Well, I guess we'll have to see. But of course, that's only speculation on my part. As regards to the legality of it, if we accept that the emergency orders have been properly extended until the end of September, then the competent authority has the power to lift or impose restrictions as he sees fit during this period, which will run till the end of September. So on the face of it, I would have to say that it is legal.
Well, I mean, saying that is one thing, but some people have a different opinion. Is there a legal challenge that's being mounted against these emergency orders under Article 29 of the Constitution? And is that challenge about, whether, quote unquote, the competent authority has the right, or is it more how it's being executed?
Yeah, last week it was reported, and I became aware of an action filed by a prominent Queen's Counsel utilizing persons who have been convicted of offenses under the emergency orders as plaintiffs. And the defendants are named as the Prime Minister or the competent authority and the Attorney General in their public capacities. It's not personal to them, but it's in regard to the office that they hold. And the claim is that the persons who were arrested or have been charged and even convicted, that the competent authority did not have the authority or the jurisdiction to create arrestable offenses for breaching the emergency orders against the plaintiff. So that is the claim. And so clearly there is a question as to the legality of the emergency orders based on that.
So you know, and I saw that list as well. Of course, you know, you see everything on social media, whether it's true, false, or not. But what exactly are those plaintiffs asking the court to do?
Yeah, it's very interesting. They're asking the court to declare that when the Governor General made the declaration of states of emergency, and he's made two, as you will recall, there was the original one, and a second one was made because the original one was allowed to expire. They're asking the court to declare that when the Governor General made the declarations of states of emergency on two occasions, no states of emergency existed within the meaning and contemplation of Article 29. I'm reading exactly from their filing. Now, Article 29 is where the power to declare states of emergency derives. And they're seeking 12 declarations in total. Amongst other things, they're also seeking an order that the criminal complaints against the plaintiffs be quashed. So they're claiming that both emergency orders were not proper within the context of the proper meaning of Article 29. That's quite interesting. Now, their arguments were not available. And so while I was able to see what they're claiming, I couldn't see the legal basis on which they're claiming it. It's very interesting, and we'll see if there's any sustainable basis for it.
You know, there's a lot of talk, you know, whether or not this is, you know, politically influenced, whether it's a publicity stunt, but, you know, you talk about the legitimacy of it. You know, we all know that there were, you know, I don't want to say faux pas or mistakes probably made in terms of how the emergency orders were executed, because, you know, we saw, you know, with the second one in particular, how it had to be redone. So, you know, is this more about, you know, politics, PR, you know, the fact that, you know, again, it's not so much about, you know, the right of the government or under the Article 29 of the Constitution to do it, but how it's being done. I know there's just a lot of buzz about that.
Yeah. My politically correct answer is we shall see.
Okay.
But to be more specific, and as I just indicated, I have not seen a copy of their legal arguments. You know, it would be very interesting to see the basis on which they're claiming that the proclamations were improper. I will say, though, that from my perspective, on the face of it, I did not see anything wrong with the initial declaration of state of emergency. I guess there could be questions about the circumstances surrounding the second one, but we'll have to see, and I'll have to reserve judgment until I could see the basis on which they're making their arguments. I will also say that the persons who are involved are very skilled, competent attorneys. And so I would not in any way dismiss their arguments, but having not had an opportunity to see it, we'll just have to wait and see how it unfolds.
Okay. Understood. I mean, you know, at the end of the day, our Constitution normally guarantees a certain amount of civil liberties for our citizens. You know, the lines are getting so blurry these days, but just remind us exactly what is normal so that we don't forget what our normal rights are as the citizens of this country.
Right. Well, the number one right is you got to be able to go to the beach, right? But in all seriousness, I mean, that's freedom of movement. You know, there's an actual article of the Constitution, and there's a section that's called Protection of Fundamental Rights and Freedoms. That's Chapter 3. And the articles between 15 and 31 deal with the issue of fundamental rights and freedoms. Now, interestingly, Article 29 falls within that scope as well. And so Article 29 is obviously an exception for a time of war or other defined emergencies. But freedom of movement is one of our rights. Again, they got roadblocks up. You can't travel beyond a certain time of the night. So that's an obvious violation of one of our freedoms. Freedom of assembly. You know, if you want to have a wedding with 400 people or a funeral with 300 people, you're supposed to be able to do that ordinarily. You know, freedom of association. And freedom of religion and freedom of worship. You know, you can't go to church the way you would like to, etc. So, I mean, these are things that we have ordinarily taken for granted. And with this being the case now since late March, it's wearing on people. But at the same time, I mean, in absolute fairness, I mean, we do have a health emergency that we would be foolish to ignore. So again, you know, it's a balancing act between trying to make sure that people are not completely deprived of all of their freedoms and at the same time recognizing that we have a highly contagious disease and our health facilities and our health capacities are not the largest. So, you know, that's the balancing act that the competent authority has to try to make.
Yeah. Again, I don't envy those who have that responsibility at all.
Yeah.
I get looking into the future, under the emergency orders, you know, what's the definition of the timeline? Probably be, I guess, the biggest question that determines how much longer we'll be under this. Thank you so much for joining us once again here on Bahamas at Sunrise. You make it simple, man. I see why you have all those books behind you.
Thank you, Philip. It's always a pleasure to be here. I'm sorry the circumstances are what they are, but we definitely have to get this matter under control. And persons have to take it seriously. I think part of it is that there's still a degree of apathy in the public about, you know, the seriousness of this situation.
Yeah. Well, Merit Store Managing Partner, Providence Law. You're watching Bahamas at Sunrise. We'll be right back.
Do you want to know more about the scriptures, the early Christian church, its teachings, suffering, other religions, the authenticity of the Bible? The Anglican Theological Institute is for you. Enroll in a 3-year certificate program. Classes are conducted from NASA and Freeport on Saturday mornings. Don't miss a class. Stay connected anytime, anywhere, with high-speed internet. Contact us at 603-2481. Visit our Facebook page. Pick up an application form at any Anglican church or at Addington House on Sands Road. The Anglican Theological Institute is for you.
Nourish your immune system, nourish your health, nourish your life with Ensure, Ensure Original, Ensure Plus, and Ensure Max Protein.
Welcome back. Safety first, education always is the new mantra of the Ministry of Education amid the COVID-19 global pandemic, as schools prepare to reopen September 21st. Here to discuss this with us is the Director of Education, Dr. Marcellus Taylor. Good morning and welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise.
Good morning and thank you very much for having me.
Thank you for being here. So the question on everybody's minds, will schools be operating 100% remotely this term?
Well, certainly the intent is to begin the year that way. Of course, this is a public health situation, and our most desired approach would be to have face-to-face instruction, because that's what we know and that's what is expected generally in society. There are all kinds of reasons why people would prefer their children in school than not. And even as a society, I think, when we get back to the point where we have face-to-face, we would feel that society is a bit more in the normal realm of things. But because of the situation, the public health situation, we have made a decision that on 21st of September, when we begin the school year, we'll begin it virtually because we are putting safety first.
So what is the strategy for this approach of operating remotely as we proceed throughout the term?
Well, the general approach is that we will use a virtual learning platform that will serve as the, if you will, campus and the source of all of the instruction that we'll be providing. Some of the instruction will be produced centrally. Some of the support will be dealt with on the level of teacher. So we have a general platform, and students of a particular grade level will get some information that will come from that general platform. And then there will be opportunities for individual teachers to work with their small groups of students in order to ensure that, you know, this more granular, this more detailed support is provided to the students. And so, you know, we are like most places in the world, trying some different things to, you know, see how best we could support students. And I believe the combination of ways in which we want to approach this will provide us with an acceptable degree of success.
Yes, because I would imagine that towards the closing of last year or the last term, after going through some of this remote learning, that there would have been some lessons learned and you would have reapproached your strategy to improve on how that's delivered. In terms of health guidelines, everyone once again is worried about how would the health guidelines in the school help to protect both the children and the teachers and staff. So would you like to just give us I guess, a brief rundown of what are the health guidelines for the schools?
Well, of course, the health guidelines that we have developed them, and they have been reviewed and ratified by the Ministry of Health for the ones that deal with the individual, and also the issues that deal with the environment in terms of the classrooms and any spaces that we'd use. The Department of Environmental Health has reviewed those protocols and have agreed them. Basically, we are demanding all the things that people have come to expect in COVID-19. Students must wear masks. Students will be socially distant. And then also we will encourage students to wash their hands with a great frequency. You know, we'll try to ensure that we don't have overcrowded campuses. And so that's one of the reasons why you hear us talking sometimes that even if we have to go to the schools, we might have to use a blended approach where some students are not on the school campus every day, just to minimize the numbers of persons on the campus. And so these and other things are what we're trying to do to keep the schools safe and the individuals on them safe.
Yes, because I would imagine that it would be hard to do practical lessons remotely. If you don't have a science lab at home, or you don't have your mechanic shop or your technical drawing room, that you may need to come to the campus every so often. And so these health guidelines would be applicable then.
Well, let me just say this. You are right that historically, most of the technical subjects and practical subjects would have been difficult, and some still are. But more and more, there are simulation models and so forth that sort of, you know, even makes that a little less problematic than it may have been 5 or so years ago.
Oh, that's good to know. That is great to know. And in terms of technology, we know that technology has advanced the ability of the ministry to interact with both staff and students. What devices are recommended for students during this remote learning time?
Well, we have put out already some specs that could guide parents in the purchase of devices that we think are appropriate. Generally, I'm not going to go and try to tell you what the specs are. I'm not that kind of, I don't have that kind of knowledge. Yes. But they're out. But what we do advise is that smaller students, perhaps parents would just want to invest more in a tablet than really say going into a laptop. But once your child gets in secondary school, although you can use a tablet, you know, you might want to invest in a laptop because that's a, you know, more robust device. And it's certainly something that the student can use. And, you know, in the past, every year, you know, schools give a book list and they, you know, say, buy this thing, buy that thing. And sometimes that comes to $150, $200, $300 for the textbooks and so forth. What we're saying this year is to prioritize that device as your investment in education. Because that device is not only going to give you resources that you would ordinarily get in textbooks and so on, but it'll also, certainly when we are remote, enable your child to tap into the instruction, which is certainly important. So we like people to, the specs are circulating, so you see them, and please encourage people to buy a device.
Yes, that makes sense. Invest in the technology because that's what's most important at this time to facilitate the learning. So how has the Ministry of Education had to adapt during this time? Students have been adapting, but how has the ministry had to adapt?
Well, we have had to basically move from what we know to something that we only just begun to get involved in, with this virtual learning. I think we have been able to, in large measure, move successfully from the face-to-face instruction to the virtual. That doesn't mean that there aren't problems. That doesn't mean there aren't areas that we're working out and so on. But I think the general move from face-to-face instruction to virtual learning has been pretty effective. Of course, there are some key things that we have to work on now, which involve the training of more and more of our staff so that they could participate fully in the exercise. We have to also ensure that we have, from a employer's point of view, all the rules around how you engage as an employee virtually as opposed to when you were face-to-face. We have to also, as a kind of custodial force within the society, figure out ways in which we could still ensure that we provide students with the guidance, the discipline, the structure that they would ordinarily get when they physically come to school. So these are the areas now that we're trying to work on. And I think, we won't solve all of the problems one time, but I think we'll be able to develop, a pretty effective program as we go forward.
Yes, and as we all adapt, especially the parents and the students to this new type of learning environment, is there support being provided from the ministry for parents and students to assist them with this type of transition?
Yes, and as a matter of fact, we've really enhanced the support that we provide. Of course, in all of our schools, in most of our schools, we have guidance counselors. And they have taken their work and moved it remotely. And so guidance counselors have been providing support for students and any others who need it. We have an employee assistance program, which is designed to help our employees deal with certain issues and also to prepare them for the kind of changes. We've also worked with some non-governmental agencies, some local, some international, about providing counseling services and helping people with strategies to cope in this kind of time. We want to, and we're in the process of finding ways to provide parents with more support for how they can support their children in terms of assisting them with creating a structured environment for learning at home, and how they could support them in, review of lessons and so on, so that could be a way in which parents could better cope with the situation where, you're forced to be a parent and in some cases a worker and in some cases a teacher. And so how do you manage all of that? And so we're sensitive to these needs, and to the extent that we could support them, we're prepared to do our best to support them.
Dr. Taylor, you've brought us a lot of clarity and a lot of information about this upcoming school year. I know the students are ready and the parents, we're getting ready for class as well. So we appreciate you taking the time to be with us here on Bahamas at Sunrise this morning.
It's my pleasure, and hopefully over the course of the next several weeks, we'll continue to provide the public with information so that, some of the anxiety could be reduced, but also so that people could know what it is we plan so they could support it. Because I believe if we all support these efforts, we will have success.
I agree with that 100%, brother. Thank you, Dr. Taylor, for being on us on Bahamas at Sunrise this morning.
Thank you. Good morning.
We'll be right back. You're watching Bahamas at Sunrise.
One thing, two things. Blue thing, all things. Things that are small, things that are grand, things that fit just right, and in the palm of your hand. Fox Hill Nursery, a large selection of garden supplies, If you can see it in your mind, you can find it at Fox Hill Nursery.
Well, that's going to do it for this edition of Bahamas at Sunrise. We trust that it was beneficial to you. Thank you as always for joining us. Mark, good to see you, my friend.
Yes, I enjoyed the show today with you, Brother Phil. I particularly enjoyed Merritt. I think he's given me some loopholes to investigate in terms of what is a beach. You know, if it does not have sand, it's not a beach.
You are definitely a creative.
Yes, it's been a great show today. Just want to remind you all to head to our Facebook page and to take our COVID-19 vaccine survey. Let us know what you think about the vaccine and whether or not you would take it. Also, be sure to catch a debut of our Youth Roundtable this Friday, live on Bahamas at Sunrise. The youth of our future are our future, so we got to hear from them and we got to listen to them. So we're looking forward to that this Friday. It's been a great show. Phil, I guess I'll see you Friday.
Yes, see you soon.
Friday from a distance.
All right, you guys have a safe week.